Drop and a roadie. Q103, your root station. Are they reggae or are they jazz? Now, Nesta, Cameron, sitting in the studio, I want you to take a listen at this call that I got earlier today, okay? Here it is. Q103, hello.
Hey, Shag.
Hey.
Yeah, I think the future and the past got to be the roots. Yeah, you got to some of that techno reggae is too, like hip-hoppy.
Yeah, you know, a lot of guys, and I'm going to throw him under the bus right here, but Kamikaze is one of these guys that thinks that dubstep and the electronic sound is going to be the future of reggae music.
I like when they still have, like, you know, Bob Marley had, like, the female backup singers and the horns and everything. That's where it's at, really.
Yeah.
You know, but I think the future, part of the future of reggae, the Marley kids, those guys are ripping.
So he says the Marley kids are the future. Kind of like you could almost say like a direct ascension.
Sure. Like the right to the throne almost.
Yeah. But I wanted to play that call for you guys and kind of ask your opinion on this. Your sound in Sounds of Addiction, very experimental, and dare we say there are some electronic elements to it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But like, if you're thinking of the whole debate, do you say the electronic style of reggae is going to be the one that just comes out strong? Or are we going to return to the roots?
No way. Everything's going to, like you said, you mentioned the word organic earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everything is going to have to come from a live sound. Everything's going to come from a real instrument first. You know, we manifest all these other thoughts through our heads, and then we put it into an electronic keyboard, or a producer will come out with it and put it out there. But then you still have the musicians who have to go on stage and perform that. You know, and it's, unless you want just an iPod backed up, you know, backing up a band, you know, you're going to see Stephen Marley coming out with no band, you know, something like that. That's going to be kind of weird. I don't think the older school guys, you know, people who appreciate all that music, they're going to want that. So somewhere along the line, it's going to be a collaboration of the two. I don't think it's going to come out, like you said, strong.
Yeah, I think it has a place in the future, but it's definitely not going to be...
Well, could you imagine, if you will, and I know this is not talking about Sounds of Addiction, but could you imagine if you know, Coco and those guys came to you and says, in a vision, tomorrow we're going to do a dubstep song? What would you... How would you even approach that? Because that's what Kamikaze's argument is to me. It's an establishment saying we're changing the establishment.
Yeah, first of all, I'd be like, well, how are you even going to pull that off live?
Dude, I don't know.
That would be the only question. Then everybody would look around and be like, he's right.
Yeah, you know.
Be done.
So it does. It boils down to essentially the live element of the songs.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. You know, everything's going to, you know, we appreciate your craft, and you're on the radio and you're doing all that stuff. And I think when it comes down to it, you know, people don't make money selling CDs anymore. People go to live shows, and that's what sells. That's what attracts people to the band, to the music, and keeps people going. Yeah. You know, so if you can't do it live, it's almost...
Yeah.
You shouldn't do it at all.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible to do it live, because you can, but it takes so much, you know, to...
And there is an element of showmanship that you lose.
That's right.
Yeah.
You compromise it, because then you're just doing it by rote. Everything is going to be there for you already.
I mean, if I'm seeing a guy play an iPod versus playing an actual instrument, I'm going to see the guy with the instrument.
Right. Okay. Exactly.
But you guys play instruments.
We do. We play instruments. We try to imitate other sounds, you know, I think. You know, Hendrix always did things. Back in the day, you know, everybody's always trying to do something electronic from something organic, you know? Yeah. And that's what we're always going to try to do. Push the envelope, push the boundaries, and stretch it everywhere. And I think that's what you're going to hear with Sounds of Addiction. You know, the things that we're going to introduce to you, to the radio, to everybody else, it's not going to be exactly like the live flavor that we have, but that's the essence of it, too, you know? Because essentially we're going to mold it all together. And that's maybe start of the discussion, the future of reggae music.
Oh, kind of like a melting pot.
Hey, Hawaii.
Yeah, true. Look at here. Okay.
Yeah.
I tell you what, 877-0103 if you'd like to talk to the guys of Sounds of Addiction,
Bring it
your road
on,
station. Q103. Q103, hello.
Hey, Shag.
Hey, how's it?
I hate to bug you twice in one day. Just had to weigh in a couple things. You're the guy calling from Miami. Reggae dead, and the man, like, come on. It depends on where you're from. Where I grew up in Santa Cruz, California, just as rootsy as Hawaii.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
now, talking about Snoop Dogg, not to go reiterate on him, but you know, not to be a hater, but I'm kind of a disliker of rap music. So at least he's trying to do some reggae. Come on, give him a break. Everybody's got their own style.
Yeah, and this is my whole thing too. It's because it's one of the central messages of Bob Marley's music: redemption. This guy.
I know he's not that rootsy, but you know, he's trying. I'd rather have him do reggae than rap, in my opinion.
Any day of the week, man. I agree with you.
All right, thanks.
Hey, no problem. Later. Okay. Well, what do you think of the whole Snoop Lion thing? Is it possible for a dog to change to the lion?
Hey, Prince can change his name to a symbol. You know, I guess anybody, it's possible.
Hey,
you know, rebirth, if you will, born again, and that's you know, for I guess big time artists to stay current in the business, you're always gonna have to remold yourself. You know, Madonna, everybody's recreated themselves 10 times over, and if this is Snoop's, you know, version, if this is his take on it, so be it. More power to him. Like this gentleman is saying, you know, he's from Santa Cruz. It's rootsy. It's things like that. Yeah. But then, I don't know. Kama, what you think, man?
Yeah, it's like
yeah. I kind of, you know. I'm not gonna argue with him.
No, neither am I.
But you're shaking your head.
What if Sounds of Addiction want to do country tomorrow?
Wow.
You know? Who knows?
Marty Dread's new album is called Country Boy, and it's all reggae covers of country songs.
Country, you know, and to each his own, I think. But being appreciative of it, I think this is what his point was. What the caller was saying was, don't dog on him too much.
Yeah, dog.
We're just gonna snoop on him, you know. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. But it was a bit, you know. I think it's all about approach and how he marketed it at first. You know, how it was a reincarnation. I am Bob. I am the king. I think that caught a lot of people off guard.
Yeah.
You know, if you're just gonna say, look, I'm gonna try something else. This is who I am now. Go for it.
Yeah, people would have been a lot more, you know, happy with that. But coming out and saying, "Oh, I have direct link to the one that you consider the absolute pinnacle of this style of music."
We can only have one pope. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's it.
Oh, actually, a backup pope would be kind of an interesting idea, man.
They got him, but still, you know. So if he's the reincarnation of it, what is Ziggy? What is Kaimani? What is all those guys? Those are...
I know, and they all play different styles, even the Marley kids.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Q103, hello.
Hey, Shags, I had a question for the guys.
Oh, okay, go for it. They're here.
What's up, brother?
Hey, so I was just wondering, considering how experimental you guys are with your music, have you guys ever considered adding turntables to the mix?
Wow, turntables.
Yeah,
actually we have.
We do.
Yeah,
we do. You know, we've been doing this Longies gig down on the west side for a while. We do it like once a month now. You know, props to this guy, DJ Kaike. He kind of got ousted for a second, and then we kind of brought him back in. And you're right. I think the only way we're gonna mold into both of those realms is gonna actually have that electric that DJ on stage, and it's not new, it's not foreign. Steel Pulse does it. You know?
So it's not foreign to you to say, in our band, we're gonna have a guy scratching our...
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. I ask because I'm a turntablist myself. I moved here about a year ago from New York, and I've been looking for local musicians to kind of collaborate with, and I just really would like to hear that in the like the newer school reggae that's coming out, the dubstep and all that. I think that turntablism is a real amazing thing that is like kind of in the shadows. It's kind of like overlooked by a lot of people.
No, I think the only thing that I'm ever gonna say to somebody like you who has that ambition to mold the two would be bring that musicianship from your turntables onto the stage. That's always gonna be the argument, whether or not you're gonna play something that's pre-scripted and pre-mixed versus
invented.
Exactly. You know, coming on stage with your tables and stuff. What are you gonna bring? You know, how can you bring forth what you do into as an instrument, as a musician, with the other guys that are on stage? And if you can do that, I think you're gonna be onto something, you know.
Yeah, well,
man, thanks for the call.
I appreciate the feedback, man.
Yeah, thank you for calling, man. More questions like that, we love it.
All right, aloha.
Wow, turntablism. Now, this is one thing. When you think about turntablism, it is an art form. But there is also a musical element to it, whereas you can do what you said. Blend beat from this song into beat of this song, call it a day, walk away from it, you're done. Or there is take this song, take isolated parts of this beat, scratch in parts of this beat. Now, while I'm scratching over here, I'm going to drop another label over here because I'm going to blend into this song as well. You're creating something new from already existing built things, and that's more arrangement and more musical. At that point, you go from being I guess what you could say, an iPod to an actual musician, even if it's turntables, right?
That's right. Yeah. Because when he does blend beats, he's blending it into our beat on what we're playing live too. So definitely just like an instrument, you know.
And you ever notice that it's kind of hard when you're doing that practice because they're going, hey man, this is when I'm doing this by myself, I don't have you guys in the way.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of time back to them. They time back to you. Has it ever become difficult where you're like, okay, wait a minute, why are we off?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest, not argument, I guess, the biggest conflict, if you will, on stage is always that. It's always, there's already 5-6 guys on stage or however many in your band or whatever trying to make one sound.
Yeah.
You throw in any other instrument in there and you consider the turntables another instrument, just blend into that one sound, whatever that is. If you can't do it, then we're not going to do it.
Yeah, true. So basically, if it don't fit, you got to quit.
That's right.
All right.
Want to see more Q103?
Check out our Q-Log on our website.
For extended artist interviews, behind-the-scenes videos, and more. Log on to Q103Maui.com today.
The rhythm of the island.
Q103.